What are the most common, would you say, things that you find on these surveys? You know, particularly in houses.
Yeah, it's damp. Basements. And when you go to a builder and you say, look, you built this house 6 months ago, there's damp coming through already. And he said, I remember one of them just said, every basement's got damp. You always get damp in basements. And you know, I'm saying, well, no, you don't actually. There's no reason for it. The thing is, for an extra day's work, doing things outside, the problem is really outside the building. Doing that proper damp proofing out there, putting proper drains around the building, you won't have that problem. But just they skimp and they'll slap on a bit of bitumen paint onto the concrete, onto the brickwork, and think, well, that's it. But that paint, and then they dump all the soil and everything against it. And the acids in the soil eat through the bitumen quickly, and then they go and they saturate the structure itself, and so you get damp showing through on the inside. You get people who are irrigating their houses, their gardens, beautiful gardens, really lush, but the only problem is a lot of that damp is then getting guided towards the house itself, and you get damp coming in there. And the biggest thing that gets me is the lack of guttering, which I know aesthetically it's not the prettiest, but you can design it so that it's part of the roof structure and isn't on the edge, it's just on the inside of the edge. But you've got all the rain landing on the roof. It comes down and it pours straight down, either pouring down the walls or onto the ground immediately around the walls. So that area is going to be soaked. And if that happens time and again, of course, that damp is going to go into the house. That will appear in the basement, first of all, but then you can get damp running along the floor of the concrete floor of the ground floor itself, underneath the tiling, and then will appear. One of the first houses I looked at, I can remember in Manila, when I was down here, the house was fine except for damp right in the middle of the house, and there was no pipes near it. There was nothing. I just couldn't work out how it's happened at all. So I brought an architect or technical I know in, and he said, I've seen this before. And he showed me that there was a flower bed that was being irrigated, and the water from that was flowing in onto the concrete floor. The concrete floor wasn't completely level, so it was flowing down to the lowest point, which just happened to be where this wall was built. And so the wall was sucking up the water. And that's why there was damp there. So you took away the irrigation, you put more insulation against the wall, and then you've got to wait. It can take 2, 3, 4 years for it to dry out if you just leave it. If you lift the flooring and the sand and the bedding for the tiles, if you lift those and take away the plaster and the lower part of the wall, you can dry it out within 2 or 3 months of a summer, and then you put that all back down and you shouldn't have a problem. But these are the things, but it's definitely, it's damp is the big thing. With the 10-year decennial insurance that there is, that has, I think that stopped so much structural problems, because the insurance company supervises the pouring of the concrete for the actual structure, you know, for the foundations, the pillars, the floor plates. What it doesn't cover usually is the brickwork, the infill bricking, but brick between the things, between the pillars. And so that wall could fall out, and it would be, I'm terribly sorry, it's not structural. Just put a new window in and you've got that. So structurally, we don't see that many problems, unless there's been undermining by water, by a stream or something like that hasn't been treated properly.